Robot Commando fires his secret weapon. He takes orders from no one except you.
Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into my tutorial. Today we'll be looking at the Invector TPC shooter template. We'll be showing you how to get from pretty much scratch, how to import a character and how to build weapons so that you can eventually get to this. Alright, so what we'll do to start, let me just take this off. So as you can see here we've got our special character. We're going to show you how to import him, how to set up the ragdoll and all the different sections that you need. If we click on here, excuse me, click on here, all the little scripts and everything that we need to chuck on there, including the items, and then how to build some of the items that we've got here. Now I've already made this on here with the barrel magazine, so we'll try with the G36 I think. And we've also got the revolver in there, but I can show you how they're set up. But what we'll do first is we're going to delete our main character, so hopefully I don't screw this up, because we really need that guy. Alright, first thing we want to do is we're going to go to Invector. Now we're going to go down to the shooter menu here, and we're going to go create shooter controller. So now we've got our character creation window. I'll pop that up. We are going to drag our character. We can't use the circle to search, but I've got a lot of other characters on here, and it's easier just to, I have all the ones that I'm using today put aside to make it easier for me. So I'm going to drop them in there. One thing you need to know about the character model is that it has to be humanoid with all of the necessary bones. I do have a couple of other humanoid characters that are missing one of the spine bones, and that screws up with the template. It has an issue with the head tracking system that it needs to create the shooter aspect. To fix that, apparently you can go onto the Mixamo site and redo the skeleton on it. I haven't done that yet, but I will do that in another episode. I'll figure out how that works, and then I'll showcase I'll demonstrate how to do that. So now we've got that, we need the animated controller. For that we can actually click on here and find which one we want. Now I want the shooter melee, because that will actually allow me to both use the melee weapons and the shooter, so it's stock standard, we'll go with that one. Double click it, and now we want the camera list data. So there's already the ones that come packaged. You can actually build your own one, but today we're just going to go with the main one, which will be the shooter melee. So that'll give us the camera state. Now we're state. Now we are ready to go. The controller is the basic one, it's already put in there. And we just go create. Now that's created our model here. So our model is now created. It's our third person shooter model. We need to add a few more bits and pieces onto it. So I'm just going to minimize these for now. Now the way that it's set out, one of the main things you want to do first is ragdoll, because ragdoll will read your the different sections of your model and will build according to that. So it's pretty much the first thing you want to put on there. So you just go to the Invector menu, basic locomotion, components, and ragdoll. Once you put it up there, it's going to bring up this screen. Everything's already set up, because as I said, this one here already has the humanoid skeleton that is like the Unity human skeleton. Yeah, proportional mass, all that, that's all fine. We're going to leave that as it is. Now, in some of the other tutorials that I've seen, you can actually adjust the boxes and the cylinders and everything that come through with the ragdoll, but for now we're just going to leave it as the standard, so that's fine. Now, other ones that we want to chuck on there in basic locomotion, we want to have the hit damage particle. That allows us to, every time you get hit, or if you get hit by a specific object, you can play a different particle effect. So for this one, where are we? Blood splash, that's the one we want. So now whenever the default is, whenever he gets hit by something, a little blood will split out. Not going to play so much in this thing, but it's just part of something that you want to set up. So we'll close that. Next we want the footstep. So this here is the footstep from texture script. I might just drag this out here so you can see a bit better. This here is whenever we walk around, it's going to want to play the audio, and as you can see there's a couple of sphere colliders down here, and they will interact with the terrain, and it will read from that point what texture is on that terrain, and then you can set up the different textures to make different sounds. But for now I'm just going to go with the default, so we open up this window, we click on assets, and it will bring up all the ones that are linked to it. Right now we've got default, grass, gravel and metal, so we're just going to go with the default because that's all we need, and we're going to minimise that. Now the next one we want to bring on there is the inventory. So this one here is the item manager, we need to throw that on there. Now you can open it up but it won't find what you need, so you actually need to look for it manually. Bring that, so we've got the folder here for item manager, and we want to go to the prefabs. So the prefabs are bringing up, we've got inventory shooter and inventory shooter melee. So we just drag that one up into the box, and then the item list data, we can click on that, and we want the shooter melee one. So this is you can create your own item lists. When you're making your game, you'll probably want to make your own item list because you won't be using any of the basic items. Because we are going to be using some of the basic items, it's easier to have one that's already set up, because we're going to be duplicating some of those items later in the weapon creation to make it easier. So we'll just double click that. Now it's popped up here, please select play data component. Because we've clicked on here and we've done stuff, it's deselected the player model, which is here. Now we click back on the window and we click create, and that's put the item manager in here. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually be able to give him some of the items that we're going to use. So we're going to change this here to 2. So that'll bring up, we've got 2 results in the array. And we want to have shooter, and we want to have ammo. Later on we'll put in melee, because we can make a melee weapon. Melee, whatever. Anyway, so we'll leave that for now, that's fine. We are also going to go over custom handle points. That'll play in because you'll notice that when you put in the pistol, when you put in the M4, they are actually going to be in different holding positions, and the equip point can actually affect the way the weapon's held. So we're going to leave that for now because we're going to finish off our character first. We go back to here. Now the next one we want is actually the in the melee combat one, or melee, whatever you want to call it. Got to figure out whether I want to call that one or the other. Components, and we need melee manager. And this actually allows us to do damage to the enemies. I've noticed that without it, it can actually be difficult registering the hit damage, and you certainly won't get any hit damage if you're using a sword or an axe or anything. So we'll just leave it as that. Now this is pretty much the default settings are perfectly fine for your character, set so you can target the enemy, that sort of thing. When you're working with NPCs, you'll need to change this around a little bit. But for now, this is all we need. And as you can see, it's set up the hitboxes around the fists and the feet. And if we play the game now, you'd be able to punch and kick. Alright, so next thing we want to do is... so here we go, we've got our character, we've got the armature. I'm just going to click on that so we get the left hand hitbox. Yep, that's fine. I'm going to go to the right arm. I'm just going to set this up. So we go right hand, and here we go, we've got the default equipment point. So as I said, this one here, when you're using the pistol, you'll need to set it up. I believe I've already got the pistol set in there, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the item manager, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the handgun that I made, which is the revolver. Just going to click on that. I'll go over how to develop that a little bit later. So click on that, so that's now in his inventory, and we're going to go add here, handgun ammo, like that, and we're going to get 12. Because it's a 6 shooter, it's actually going to have 6 rounds, so this will be 2 extra clips on top of that. Now what we're going to need to do is, I'm just going to bring this back here, I'm going to extend this out, because we're actually going to play the game now, and we'll be setting up the angles for the default equip point, because this particular weapon's set up to equip itself at the default point, and now the default point's the one that we're going to use for pretty much every weapon except for the assault rifles and shotguns, things like that. I'm just going to click play, it's going to work itself out, and there we go, so we're in the game. And I'm going to switch over to the controller here because it makes it a little bit easier. So as you can see, the weapon's not really pointing in the way we want it. Now, the IK point's set up for this pistol, so it's sort of holding at the bottom of the weapon there. I might change that in a later build, but for now it's set up the way we want. Now, in order to get this pointing the right way, we need to switch back over to the scene mode, we need to click on the third person shooter in the hierarchy, and we need to go to shooter manager script. We want to lock camera and lock aiming. Now as you can see, if we move around it here, yeah, you can see that it's down there and it's not really looking the way that it needs to look. So we've got to make sure that we have this default equip point here selected. I'm just going to drag this over a bit so you can see a bit more. So you can see our revolver has spawned in the default equip point, and we need to switch to this. And if we start rotating it, you can actually see it's going to move the point to sort of where we want it. I'm going to need to rotate that over. It certainly looks a bit weird, but pretty much just keep rotating it till you get it to the right point. Actually a lot harder. Hang on, if we take it off global and local, yeah, that's a little bit better. As you can see now, it's sort of more towards where the player is actually looking, or the player model is looking. So that's fairly good there. If we come over behind, we can see, I might want to, might want to bring it out. No, that didn't help. Can be a little bit finicky, depending on whether you use the center. No, we don't want to use the center, we want to use the pivot, because as you can see, it's sort of rotating around. Alright, we'll go with about there. Now we need to make sure that it's actually placed in his hand correctly, because as you can see here, it's not really clipping through his hand. Sorry, it is clipping through the hand, and that's not what we want. So let's figure that out, and then you can see on this side it does look a bit off there. So we want to perhaps bring it up slightly, back there. Okay, so the thumb doesn't really sit where we want it to, but not much we can do. We'd have to affect the animation on there, and that's just something you'll find with your models. If you want to really refine it, you can. Let's set that up through that, and that'll do that. It's pretty good for where we are there. Actually, it's slightly angled, so let's try and get this nice and level. Because you'll notice that if it's not level, when you zoom in, your zoom in view will actually be skew-if, so you don't really want that. Now the IK point we need to change as well, but for now I'm going to click on here, copy component. We're going to stop playing it because we need to effect a change on this that'll last. So now that we've copied it, we've still got the default equip point selected. I'm going to click on here and just paste component value. So now it's going to move the equip point to where it was when we liked it just before. And now if we run it, hopefully everything will be fine. So you can see now it actually sits in his hand properly when he's holding it, and then when we aim, it sits pretty much where we want. Now I've got a little green laser pointing out the end of it, and hopefully that's where the bullets are going. So as you can see now, when we zoom in, it also sits a bit better in his hand when we zoom in. We go bang, 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 and yeah, because it's a revolver, I'll need to get another animation for the reload there, but that's fine. Alright, what we want to do now is we actually I want to fix up that that left hand IK, so I'll show you how to do that. We're going to do pretty much the same thing. We're going to come here, we're going to lock the camera, we're going to lock the aim in, and we're going to switch over to the scene. So I'm going to click on the weapon now, and as you can see it's sort of picked over here in the hierarchy, just whatever I've clicked on. What we want to go is the left hand IK. And we want to just rotate that around so it looks more like he's actually holding on to that, and we want to move it up a little bit, and we want to bring it there. So now it looks more like he's actually holding on to the handle a bit better with his other hand. And we want to copy out that, so we're going to go copy component. We're going to stop the game again. Now I actually have to go back to the revolver that we've got here. I need to drag it into the scene. I'm going to put it here so that it doesn't change any of the positional values up here, because I don't want that happening. We're going to go left hand IK, we're going to go paste component values, and then we're going to click apply. So that's now applied that to the prefab down here, so when it spawns in it'll be reading those figures. Oops. And we're just going to delete that from the scene because we don't need it. Play it again. And as you can see now it covers over the front there. And then when you hold it out, it's going to look like, you can't really tell there or there because it's blocked by the arm, but as he runs around you can see that it's doing what it needs to do. Alright, so that's the default equip point. So that's going to help us with any other handguns that we have that'll be positioned relatively the same. And they'll all appear in that point, and hopefully they'll all sit in the hands properly. So we're just going to stop that play there. Now, what we need to do for the M4 to get that one fitted properly, does it say here? No, it'll be in the actual item. So what we need to do is we need to create another equip point. So we're going to click on third person shooter. We're going to minimise that for now. We need to go to the item manager, and you'll see here in equip points we've got one for the left arm and one for the right arm. Now the left arm's when you're having, say if you've got dual wielding, things like that, you might want to have an equip point on there, or you might want to have your shields. I think the default equip point's set up so it's to carry shields and offhand items, things like that. But the right arm, you can have several handlers on that. So if we click on new handler here, and it'll pop up with, put in the custom handler name. We want to have M4A1 barrel mag. No, we're just going to call it that, because that's actually going to be specifically for this weapon here. We can't just call it assault rifle equip point or M4 equip point. You can call it anything really. We're going to click on create. And as you can see here, we've got default equip point and M4A1 barrel mag. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to copy component and paste component value. So now this is actually in the same spot as the pistol one. It's not what we actually want when we get into the game, and I'll show you when I go to set up that equip point for the other weapon, because it will be off. It will be like you're holding it like a pistol, but it will be close to what we want, and it'll be easy to work from that position. So now that we've got that, the next thing we want to do is we're going to go to item manager again. We're going to open up our item list, which I've got here, and as you can see here I've already put in this item just for the ease of the tutorial. I'm going to open this up, and you can see I've pretty much just duplicated the assault rifle, but I've changed over the original object to be the M4A1 with the barrel mag. I've changed the ammo count because it is a barrel mag, so it'll have 60 rounds instead of 30. The equip ID stays the same as the assault rifle, and then I've changed custom equip point. This name here has to be the same as this name, and that has to be in this custom handler here. So as you can see, there's a couple of custom handlers. You can put in more than one, but that's it there. So this one here is already set up, so we're going to minimize that. We're going to go back to our scene now, and in here we're going to add an item. We're going to add the M4A1 with barrel mag, which is the name of the weapon that we've put in. I'm going to click add, and you can see that'll be there. Now when we start the game, you can see we're going to have that. We're going to put on the M4, and as you can see it's now appeared in our hands. Now I've set up the left hand IK to be on the little handle there because it just looks a bit cooler than the usual assault rifle one with the hand underneath, and because it's there, why not? But as you can also see, it's sitting outside of the right hand point. In fact, it's sitting up in his wrist, near his wristwatch, and that's not really what we have. What we want to have. So clicking on that, we're going to do the same thing again as we did with the pistol. We're going to click on the shooter manager script, lock camera, lock aiming. So now you can see that it's aiming through that whole thing. And we're going to click on here, we're going to go back over to the scene window. I'm just going to position ourselves so we can see that properly. And as you can see, it's now equipped the weapon through this custom point here. So first thing we're going to do is, as you can see, it's already pretty much level with where we want, which is a good thing. So we're just going to shift it so it's in his right hand properly. And maybe just bring it down a little bit so it looks a little bit better. There. But as you can see, because it's with the outside where the pistol is, it's sitting way off to the right. I mean, he's not even really looking down the barrel there. So what we're going to do is we're going to need to do the rotation on it. Oh, I've been clicking on the wrong thing. Alright, so excuse me while I cancel that out. Oh no, I was doing it on the right spot, sorry. Should always call it equip point so you know what you're looking at when you're looking at it. Alright, let's go back, let's reposition it again. Yeah, so as you can see, it's sort of sitting right where we want. You can see the trigger bit there, but that's fine. It's a low poly model, we don't really care. It's a fun shooter. Shut up. Alright, now we're going to click on that, and we're going to just that's the wrong way. It does seem a little bit funny. I'm going to bring it closer into where he's looking. So there you go, you can see that that's there. Now you can actually set offsets to the head in order to align the head properly, but as you can see, if we're looking over the shoulder, if we go back to the game view, that looks fairly aligned with what we want to have. When we click on scene, there we go. So what we're going to do is, yeah, we've got that selected, we're going to copy the component, and we're going to put it off there, and we're going to go paste component values, I'm going to click on play, and we're going to try it again. Put on the pistol first, and we're going to put on that second. So now we've got the pistol, we can shoot, and then we're going to switch over to our weapon, and as you can see it's sitting there. Well, it could be fixed up, so it doesn't really sit right when he's holding it, but when we aim, it's fairly nice. And then if we zoom in, oh, look at this, how did we get this? I'll show you when we actually build the next weapon that we're going to build. I think it has, it might not have, I'll show you this anyway, after we build the next weapon, just so you can see how to position that. That's involved with placing the scope target on the weapon, which I'll point out later. Anyway, so that's that one there. Let's click off play. Now we want to build our new weapon. There are two ways you can create. Now you can actually throw in one of the pre-made weapons and overlay your item on top of that. And that's a little bit fiddling around, but it's a good way to learn how the weapons are made up. Today though, I'm actually going to just use the weapon creation template. So what you do is you go to Invector, Shooter, and create shooter weapon. Now we want to make this assault rifle here, so we're going to drag that one up into the game object window, and we're going to click create. Now before we actually do that, you want to make sure that your scaling is correct. This particular model, or this set of models I know, are quite large, and when I want to play them on the character they're actually too big, so I know I'm just going to put in 16.5. Yeah, so I'm just going to set it to that, and just make sure that it's still using that. I'm going to go create. So now when it comes through, if I zoom in on it, you can see it's now a bit better scale towards the thing, otherwise it would be super huge. So now we've got that little template, we're going to move that out. Cool. So what we're going to do is we've got the shooter weapon template, we're just going to rename that now to the G36_AR, so we know what that is. Alright, so we've got the renderer and we've got this little stock clone thing here. Now what we want to do is we're actually going to, F2, we're going to call this renderer, oops, lowercase it, and we're going to drag all these points and drop them under here, and we're going to delete this one. So, first things first, you can see it says untagged and ignore raycast. Now, it needs to ignore raycast because what's going to happen is when you put it on the model, if you don't have it ignoring raycast, when you go to adjust the default points, it's going to do some real weird, silly things. You're going to be stuck in the equip or the aiming animation. It's going to keep looping. That was an error that I found, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. It's because it wasn't set to ignore raycast. The other setting we need for the tag is we need to actually tag this as weapon, and we need to do that pretty much for all of them. We're going to tag them all as weapon. Alright, so weapon, and the layer, we need that to be ignore raycast. Let's change to children. So yeah, so now that it's ignore raycast, it means that it's going to be able to equip properly. Now our left hand IK, as you can see, that's out here somewhere. We will play with that shortly, because that one there we need to put it on the model and we'll reissue it from there. Our audio source, so it's sitting outside the front of the gun. We can just move that back a little bit. As you can see, it's sitting about here. Should be alright there. We need to adjust the muzzle position as well. So the muzzle position's stuck out here, so we can probably bring that up a little bit. Just going to move that back. So now the muzzle position is basically where the bullet's going to spawn and fly forward from. So you pretty much don't need to rotate it around anywhere, just move it so it's in front of your muzzle, and that way it's not going to collide with anything. The aim reference, I usually just leave that there because it doesn't do too much. I think it's for when you're aiming the weapon, it brings it up to a certain level, and that's you pretty much leave it level with where it is now. The point light, so that's going to be the light out the front of our muzzle. Just going to move that up here, and as you can see it's off to the side, so we're just going to bring it there, and that'll be the light for when you're firing. It'll light things up, so if you're in a dark room it will flick the light. Now we've got the particles, so the particle system is going to remain over there. Now the capsule roof, so this is where if you've got the casings, the shell casings flying out, so we want to move that around. I'll bring that up to where on our rifle, and it looks like this is where it'll fly out there. It's right up above where the clip sits, so we'll say it's there. And we want to maybe start roughly there. Now the fire, so we choose all 4 of those, and obviously they're sitting way apart from where the blast would come out from the weapon, so we're going to move that along here. Oh, too far. So yeah, just get that in line with your muzzle. Now each of these will be rotated a certain... Ooh, a couple of them are sitting over there and they look a little bit weird. So let's bring this one, we're going to bring that here. Bring it down, you'll have to do them individually. They're also rotated in certain ways because it'll give you the big blast coming out, so little flares in different directions, which is nice looking. Otherwise you can put them all as one image, depends on what you want to do for your muzzle flash. But anyway, let's set them up. Going to about there. The fire glow, it's out here, so we want to maybe bring that back because that's going to be the glow when it triggers off. And smoke, so that's going to be the little puff of smoke that comes out. So look at where that lights up. So we'll push that up there a little bit. So now they're in the right position, so we need. Now the next important one that we've got is the scope target. So as you can see, it's sort of sitting there. A bit weird, isn't it? So if we zoomed in on that, it's pretty much going to be looking down the side of the weapon. So when we zoom in to do like a first person view, it's going to be looking down the side of the gun and your hands will be there holding it. Not too bad for a first person view, but if you want to do it so it's actually using the sights of the weapon, which you can see there, we want to maybe bring that up. So it's reset the rotation so it's nice and straight. Now we're going to bring that up here. So where are we looking through? Oh, excuse me. I want to bring that back a little bit. It's hard for me to get in close because I'm getting a lot of culling going on, so I'll try that for now. So we'll leave it there for now. What that's going to do is it's going to set the position where it needs to bring our camera to when we're aiming down the sights. So you want to try and adjust that so it lines up with that, but we can adjust that a little bit later. Now we're going to go into the weapon shooter script. So as you can see, the shoot frequency is set to 0.5. So 0.5, every 0.5 of a second, it's going to be able to fire. Now this is an automatic weapon, so we want to tick automatic so we can hold down the trigger and it will fire, but it's still going to fire at the rate of 0.5, so twice a second. That's a bit slow for what we're doing, so we want to put it more like the assault rifle. Now the other assault rifle in there is at 0.15 of a second, so it'll fire for a few rounds. We want to make this one a little bit different. We want it to be not quite as fast, so we're just going to put that down to 0.25, so it's actually going to put it a little bit slower. Now the clip size, we're going to set that to 30, and we're going to put the ammo as well to 30. The ammo ID, we're going to leave that as 13. That links to what kind of ammo. Yeah, when you're in the item list, when you're setting up your ammunition, it will count from that list. Now 13 is the one that we want to leave it set to for now. We'll change that later if we need to put in specific ammunition for this weapon. Moveset ID 2 and upper body ID 2. Just going to double check that. So M14, so yep, 22010. 22010 is what we need to remember. So you go 22010. So that's already all done to that. Now if we have a look here, we can actually just copy everything from this. So -3, -4 and -0.05 and that. So we're going to go -3, -4, and -0.5. Oops, put that there. Now the left-hand IK is the point that we were talking about here, like this. So we can leave that where it is because we'll be fiddling with that a little bit later. The projectile, we're just going to use the default bullet for this. If you're making your own bullets for things, or if your weapon needs to fire a particular different type of round, so like a rocket or something like that, you would set that up in this field here. Projectiles per shot, we're going to leave that as 1 because this is an automatic rifle, so it's only going to fire 1 bullet at a time, and that'll fire it every 4 second. The dispersion, now this is basically setting up you know, whether it shoots in a direct line or whether it's going to shoot slightly off. So we want it to shoot slightly off because we want to have an accuracy in this game. So we're just going to set that to 1.8, which might be a bit, so we might, yeah, 0.9, we'll leave it at that. Velocity as well, leave it at 380, that's roughly the speed that we want. You can leave all this drop off the minimum damage and your maximum damage set here, so we'll pick somewhere between that. Because we're firing a whole lot of bullets, we can leave it at 5 to 10 because you'll find that it'll be, each bullet will be doing that much damage. Recoil right and recoil left, we're going to change that to 0.1 and 0.3. So recoil up is 1.5. So that means that every time we fire, the weapon's going to go up a certain amount, and then recoil right and recoil left, so it will actually move to the left and right as well. Now here's the audio parts, we want to change that because it's an assault rifle, so we're going to go here, I'm going to click on rifle fire, because that's the firing sound that we want, and the empty clip, rifle empty clip, and the reload, we want the rifle reload. Yep, again, point light, legacy particles, you can leave that, and there's no shuriken particles, so we're just going with the legacy. Now, this particular weapon of mine, we don't want to use a UI. A UI is basically an overlay that will go over the screen when you zoom into the aim down the sights mode, but we don't want to do that because I've already got sights built into this actual model that we want to use. The scope zoom is another one, so when you do aim down the sights, it's going to adjust the field of view. A good one for that, I think, if I mimic the current assault rifle, we're going to change that to 45. And then of course the scope target is again what we're adjusting here. It's the little one that sits at the back there, and that's just this transform here. So now that is all set up, so we're going to close that. Now we're going to click on here and we're going to drag this down to here, so we've made a prefab for it, and that's our prefab. We'll minimize that. We're going to go back to our third person shooter now, and we're going to look at the item manager. We're going to open up the item list, and I'll copy the main one, which is the assault rifle here. We're just going to duplicate. Yep. And we'll close that down. When we go down to the bottom, there's an assault rifle clone here. This is the one that we've just duplicated. It's popped it into that spot there because there was an empty number, 2021. So we're going to edit the name of this. We're going to call it the G36. Go OK. And then attached with item sights. And item type is a shooter, so that's fine. It's got the rifle icon. Now we need to bring our G36AR, because that's our weapon. That's our weapon that we've made in here. Bring it into the original object field. The ammo count, we want to change that to 30 rounds. Damage to 25. I'm not sure exactly how that differs to the bullet or the weapon damage on the other script, but I'll leave that there for now because that's just the basic amount that was on the system there. The equip ID is 3, and the custom equip point is the M4A1 equip point. We don't have one of those on here, so we would just go to the default equip point, but we don't want to have that, so let's go M4A1 barrel mag. We could make its own one, and we might end up doing that a bit later on if it doesn't sit right. But for now, it should be similar to the M4A1, so we'll leave it there. No, actually, you know what we will do? We'll go G36AR, and the equip delay time 0.6. We can leave that pretty much the same as the assault rifle. It'll all be from the same thing. So, now that we've got that set up, that's fine. We're going to go back to our scene, and we're going to go to the third person shooter again, and we are going to go to a new handler, for a custom handler, and we're going to call it the G36AR. Click create, and now you can see it's in the list here. We're going to copy the coordinates from this one, copy component, and paste component values. So now that's set up. So this was already, the item in the list was already set up to spawn at this point now that we've created it. So go back to third person shooter, and we want to add an item, and we're going to go with the G36 add, and that should be all we need to do. One second. Alright, so let's play. So now we're bringing up the game. I'm just going to increase the size of this field here because that's what we need. So now we've got our character, and that's the inflow one that we were using before. Chuck that in, just make sure that works. See, that's still working as normal, and you can see down the side. And there's nothing in here, so now we're going to go equip this one. So as you can see, yeah, so if it had been on the other one, it wouldn't have sat quite too well. But as you can see, it sits not too bad here. So it's at pretty much the right shoulder height, and then when we zoom in, yeah, we need to adjust that as well. So, what do we do first? Well, let's get it in the right position first. Where are we? So shooter manager, lock camera, lock aiming. Then we're going to switch over to the scene menu. I'm going to choose the G36 mount point. And as you can see, it's not quite sitting where we want it to be, so got to make sure that we have the actual equip point selected and not just the model inside, because that won't do much. So we set it up there. That could be adjusted ever so slightly, so let's set this up. No, we don't want that. Let's bring it back in a little. Ooh. So yeah, even though he's not fully that, we can do the offset in the head, but as far as we're aware, that's pretty much where we want it to sit. And bring that up just a little bit. So that's quite good there. We're going to change this again, try and bring it to something that resembles the right grip for a gun. That will do. Alright, so now that we've done that, we want to copy component. Click on that, and we're going to go paste component values. We're going to start it up again. Click it directly, and as you can see, ooh, see, that really doesn't sit well there. Right, well, that's not how it should be looking. So, let's click on this, lock camera, lock aiming. And let's go back to our scene and find out what's going on. Let's try and take off lock camera and lock aiming. And we'll click off that. Yeah, it doesn't really sit in there too well, does it? We really want more to sit in there like that. And maybe just move it up. Now that we've changed that, let's have a look at what that looks like when we go to lock aiming. Okay, and as you can see, that's sort of twisted everything around, so that's not going to do us any good either. Let's just see what we can do about that. hopefully this is the spot that we want. So I'm going to copy that, and we're going to turn off unlock and unlock. And you know what, it's just going to have to sit there. We're just going to have to be happy with that for now. We can figure out how to fix that out by repositioning the model itself, which would be, so not there but from the renderer onwards we can move that about, and that won't really change a lot of stuff, so we can actually rotate that now. Oops. I don't like how that looks. Change it from there. Now let's put it back up on here. Lock camera, lock aiming. And as you can see, it sort of throws it out of whack there. So that's something we can look at a little bit later. Lock aiming. Going to click on this spot, and we're going to go paste component values again. That's fine. And as you can see, yeah, so it sits a little bit funny in the hands, but now we bring it up, it's a little bit better. If we try do that, that's going to be a little bit off. So what we want to do now, to fix it up, we're going to go lock camera, lock aiming, we're going to go back to the scene, and we're going to fix up the left hand eye cable. So we're going to click on our weapon now, left hand IK, and this here we can actually play around with until we get it to sort of sit in the right spot. So we need to fix that up. We want to bring it up to here, and maybe bring it back in. It's not holding onto those, and we might want to rotate it a little bit more. Bring that there, and as you can see, that's a pretty good hold. So that's a pretty good positioning there. We're going to copy the component. We're going to pause. Now, because we've already got it in the scene here, we're going to bring it here and just paste the component value. So that's changing it there. And we need to apply. So now that's going to change that there. So when we click start, come into our game, going to equip the weapon, and as you can see, the left hand IK is now working to where it should be sitting. We zoom in, it's going to do that. So next thing we want to do is that we want to do that zoom in. So to do that, we're going to click lock camera, lock aiming. Now what I like to do for this over here is to get it easier, I'm going to use my controller. I'm going to click the aim down sights button, and that should lock it in the aim down sights. So when we click on scene, it's still going to be aim down sights. Maybe if I bring up, down here, so we can sort of see how that works here. And we're going to find on our G36 scope target. So we're going to we want to move that up slightly so we can see it there. Maybe bring it back a bit too so we can see just a little bit more. Too far. So what axis is that? That's the x-axis. Alright, so what if we set that to 0? Maybe -0.1. Oh, no, set that back to 0. -0.001. 0.003. Oh, that's... No, see, that actually sets everything off. So if we go 0, even though that little... Yeah, basically the centre of that's not right, so that's sort of what we want to get rid of there, and we want to go maybe 0.42, 0.40, no, that's too far, 1.5, no, 1.75, change it to 1.8, and you can pretty much just fiddle with these until you get the point that you really want to have, 1.95. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go to 0, zoomed in, so we'll maybe go to 5. 3, it's going to be quite far back, so we don't want it that far back. Maybe 2.5 is good. And we can see that that's pretty much what it's going to look like there. And I'm going to drag that back up to this thing, so we get a better, clearer view. Now, I'm going to copy component, I'm going to drop out of that, I'm going to go here, paste component values and apply. So now if we go back into the game, I'm going to equip our rifle, we're going to look down the sights, and then going to look down here, and bang. So as you can see, it's not really central to that point, which is a little annoying. It should still be on the angle there. We might have to adjust that so that it is aiming directly at the centre. But another thing we can do is actually get rid of that that aiming point altogether. In order to do that, that's one of our scene elements. So aim canvas, aim ID with 0, because that was the one that we had set up for that weapon. So if we clicked on here, I can show you in the V-Shooter menu, scope ID is 0, so we'll go to aim ID 0. And as you can see, it's got this section here, aim center has got an image on it, we're going to take that off. The aim target also has an image, we want to get that off as well. Now we've done that, so if we go play now, go to equip it, and look down, and as you can see now there is none of that. And as you can see, that's actually doesn't really shoot towards the centre. It looks like it's aiming at a weird angle. So let's fix that up. We want to go third person shooter again, lock camera, lock aiming. Let's go back to here, set up our G36. And maybe even actually send that. It's a little bit wonky. I don't really know what's happened there, but you get the idea. And we want to go back to our game. We're going to unlock camera and unlock aiming. Click back on the game window, and we're going to have a look. Oh no, we've run out of ammo. As you can see, we've got our character, we've got our weapon on it, and that's pretty much all there is to it. You can adjust a lot of the settings to get what you like and reposition some of the values, but it is pretty much that simple. Just bring the weapon in, make sure it's the right scale, and equip it to a custom point for each weapon to get the real sort of detailed positioning on it, and make sure that your character is a humanoid. So if you have any more questions, or if you need anything cleared up in this, just let me know. Hit me up on the Discord or even on the forums, and I can go over some stuff with you, or I can bring it up in the next episode. Thanks very much for watching.